All right, there we go. It finally worked. Cool. All right, I'll call you back. Or I'll see you later. All right, welcome to the one and only, the original, the OG, Emmanuel Velasco here talking to you about a lot of different things about life, but we've been talking about mind game recently. And so the mind is so important. This is the foundation piece of everything, the cornerstone of everything. And so when you don't have the mind in place, then pretty much a lot of things in your life are probably in shambles. And at least that was true for me. It's like I had the health at one point, but then the health was nothing because the mind wasn't right. I had, the wealth, but the wealth was nothing because guess what I didn't have? The mind. And so the mind is something that is literally the one thing that changes everything for us. And so when it comes to the mind, or should I say, let's talk about what the title is, the truth about fear, why it controls you, and how to break free, right? And so the funny thing about fear is that, to be honest, this makes me want to pop up a song real quick, honestly. So I might have to put that song together because fear is not actually a thing. Fear does not exist. So I'm gonna go ahead and find this song real quick for you guys to let you guys hear that fear literally does not exist. This is a song called I See Pain, unreleased. If you want it, you probably go have to ask me and become a part of the community for this. But this is the song. So we'll enter with this and then leave it for whatever.
No, stop. I see pain in so many faces, each one moving at a different pace. With each breath, with the beat it tastes. Life is harsh, but they didn't know that it was lace. The devil finally showed his face, so now I see him clear. The fear that he showed me, it wasn't here. Cleared my mind and watch it all disappear. But once I saw God appear and told me, son, move along, there's no such a thing as fear. I understood my motives clear and felt in my soul that my time is near. Then I took a peek, jumped off the edge, fell in deep. The pain before the glory will make a man weep. It just means the man is moving from the pack of sheep. Once he does that, then his journey is complete. Isn't that an amazing feat? If you don't think so, you'll still be a part of the pack of sheep. It's a shame, yeah, it's a shame. I see pain, I see pain. It's a shame, yeah, it's a shame. I see pain, I see pain. It's a shame, yeah, it's a shame. I see pain, I see pain. It's a shame, yeah, it's a shame.
The fear that he showed me it wasn't here cleared my mind and watched it all disappear. Fear doesn't exist. It's just a construct of our mind. So I'm sure when you were born and you were a kid, you didn't have anything to be fearful about. And then eventually there was a point where maybe you did something bad and then you got hit and you're like, ooh, so if I drop a dish and I break it, then I'm gonna get hit. So maybe I shouldn't do that. And so you fear the pain of this if you do this consequence, right? But it's like let's break it down really. What are fears, right? There's an acronym. So fears, it's failure, embarrassment, abandonment, rejections, success. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through this all today because I actually have a note that's super full with all this information, and so um, I'll get what I can, but really this is probably going to end at the 20-minute mark to be sure. And so if you've been a part of this journey before, we do this every day at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join the journey, be a part of the learning lessons, the knowledge that I gained through my mistakes and my failures, and I just pass that along to you. And at the point that I am right now, we've crossed the $200,000 mark in personal failures. So we're looking to make that $1 million of personal failures and learning lessons, right? So that's the goal. And so if you want to join me along for that journey, just click the link in the description box below and you could join more so in depth about what's going on and what's next for me. Anyways, so failure, right? In school, this is something that they really pushed upon us. They pushed failure upon us so greatly that now failure is something that we're so fearful of. This is something that we don't ever want to do. We don't want to fail because failing means that we suck and we should, just stop what we're doing and we're no good, right? But failure is our greatest teachers. And so through the failures, we learn so much, right? And so when it comes to putting this negative stigma on failure, it makes it seem like, ooh, you're a failure. So what that means is you can't do anything good, right? And what everything that you did equaled out to, you should just not have done it anyways, right? If you did nothing, you would get the same result. But that's not true. If you did nothing, you would know nothing, right? So you didn't know that, oh shoot, this is the gas and this is the brake until you learn how to drive the car, that this is the gas and this is the brake. Most people are playing this game of like, oh, well, you know, I just don't want to fail, right? So I'm just not gonna do nothing, right? And then I'm safe if I do nothing. But that's what they want you to do. They want you to do nothing, be so tired that you don't have the energy to actually go out and figure out more information. There's a vast amount of knowledge out there for free as well, especially here on YouTube. So it's like when it comes down to it, the failure is our greatest teachers. Other people's failures are our greatest teachers. We could learn from our failures, everybody else's failures, and combine that information into massive game for somebody else to absorb that. And then that's you giving and them taking, right? And then in the same sense, maybe they give to you and then you receive it, right? And so the game of failure is that you don't ever fail. You make mistakes and you learn from those mistakes. You never actually fail anything. You just make a mistake and you either learn something from it or you don't. And so the example that I always love to give is that, okay, let's say if I say duck and I say duck and I go like this, blah, and I smack you, you didn't duck. How many times do I have to do that until you duck? Do it, is it the second time you immediately learn that and then you're like, okay, I got duck? Or is it the eighth time, the 20th time, the 100th time? Like that's pretty tough if you have to learn that many times or have it happen, the same thing happen that many times. And those are like learning pains, if you will, too. So do you fastly learn through the pain, which is the failure of it happening one time, and then you move on from that really fast and you're like, okay, I learned that. I'm not doing it like that again. And so when you do it like that, it creates a better situation for you to understand what it is that you have to do in order to avoid that and what to do to win from that, right? And so that's why like failures are kind of more exciting than wins, because through the failures, once you figure that out, it's like, wow, man, nobody could take that information away from you. That information is too valuable at this point because you had to learn it through your own trials and tribulations. Okay, but anyways, next is E. Very long-winded, right? We just got through one of them. Next is E, embarrassment. So I'm sure back in the school days, like if you when the teacher, look, I'll show you right now, when the teacher hits you with the grade and they fold it, right, and they're like, here you go. You already know, you're like, damn, like why you had to do me like that in front of everybody else? Because like, yeah, it's a bad grade. The teacher didn't want to show nobody. And so that's when you get that failure, right? And so that embarrassment feeling of like everybody, just by that little interaction or technique of giving that piece of paper to you to figure out your grade, everybody knows like, ooh, he didn't make it. He didn't make it. Right. And then now there's that embarrassment of like, okay, we know you failed. Hi, you're a failure. You're a failure, actually. Ha ha ha. and then people laugh, right? But these people are the same people who will fail once and then crumble into a billion pieces. And so the embarrassment factor of failure, it actually is like you get to see the weak from the strong, because the weak will laugh at you and use your pain as their source of energy, if you will. And then the strong will see your embarrassment and be like, that's tough, because I would be in that same situation if I didn't learn that lesson, whenever they did, right? I would be in that same position. But luckily, I learned that earlier. Or it's like, holy shit, I got to learn that lesson through this guy, through his embarrassment, to know that, okay, if I do something like that, that's going to equate to everybody laughing at me. And I don't want that situation for myself. So it's like a learning from others, understanding from others, if you will, a growth minded perspective from others. But then the people who have that fixed mind, who are always more so pessimists, you see that they end up using that mistake, that failure, as fuel for them to be like, hey, yeah, haha, you see, you thought you were superhuman, but no, you're just a regular person. Like, yeah, you're just normal, man. Like, stop trying to go out, reach your goals, and try to win that basketball trophy with your team. Yeah, that's crazy. You over here with us, the misfits of, like, we don't do shit with our lives. That's who you're part of. And so it's tough, and this begins to show you who is really down for you. Of course, your real friends will probably clown you, but in a loving way, right? Now you'll have other people who just downright just throw your ass in the dirt and just rub your name on it. And so, like, those are the type of people that you get to see by these situations, because tough situations equal out to you being able to understand who's riding with you, who's a ride or die, and who's not a ride or die. They're a ride, and then it gets hard and they skip. They're like, sorry, your phone number? Who's that? You need? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm here for the fun. I'm here for the party. That's what I'm here for. And so there's people out there like that. And unfortunately, you don't know that necessarily. You might have a uh, understanding of maybe these people are like that down for you, but you haven't paid attention. And so, because you haven't paid attention, you really think you got warriors, but you got some bitches. And what I mean by that is female dogs. The good girl type of ones. And those ones are the ones that are like, okay, we we are with you, and then it's like, oh, somebody else entered and they got food, and so, like, I don't care about you right now. I'm just here for the food. And so, if you don't want to be feeding anybody who doesn't deserve to be fed because they wouldn't share their last bread with you, they would just eat it and be like, I'm sorry, it's all gone. That's not the type of people you want around you. And so, through that embarrassment is actually a superpower that allows you to really understand that, okay, yes, these people are really for me. They're riding with me, right? Okay. So that's simply embarrassment. That was number 2. So, like, one quick note is that 50% of people actually fail because they don't take action. So if you're listening to this video right now, make sure you take action on all the steps that you're seeing in your life. Like, this may not be the video for you. This may not have hit you in a way that springs action in you. But if there's a video that or something that springs the need to take action, you should just do it, honestly. Because most of the times, if you wait on it, you're wasting your time. And you don't need information. You'll learn that along the way. You gotta take imperfect action in order to understand everything. And again, you're not going to understand everything, because even the highest level of people don't understand everything. They have a basic foundation on everything, but they don't necessarily understand everything. And so the key is for you to literally to become better than 50% of everybody. There's a lot of people in this world. You just have to do this one thing. It's called take action. That's it, right? Okay. And so, also, leading into abandonment, right? That's number 3. Abandonment leads into like you have the skills, but you're just an employee, if you will. You don't have the authority to actually, or you feel like you don't have the authority to actually tell somebody like, hey, build this website like this. Hey, post on your social media like this specifically. You have that information, you have that ability, you have that knowledge, but the problem is that you don't feel confident in your ability because you think it's normal. Well, let me break it down to you, because for me, I thought it was normal for a long time, but apparently I'm a super mastermind, and I'm gonna explain it in one simple thing. This book right here that I love showing you guys often, 100 Million Money Models by Alex Ramosi. He has a technique in this book, and so if you don't know this technique, read the book and I'll tell you the technique more in depth. But basically, the technique is tweaking some aspects of the billing. And so when you tweak these aspects of the billing, what I thought was an 8% increase was actually a 40% increase. Now, for the example, this 8% increase is only on the billing side. It's literally tweaking one thing, right? And so it talks about that in the book. You change this one thing, which is switching from every yeah, I'm not going to give that to you. You're just going to have to leave a comment if you're really interested in that one. But so anyways, you tweak this thing and it's worth 8%. At least that's what I thought. So based on my number, 8%, what's the value of that? Well, to somebody who's doing $100,000 a year, 8% is $8,000. So if I be like, hey, give me 2,000, give me 4,000, you make 4,000 off of doing nothing, 6,000 off of doing nothing, right? The difference, then that's a pretty decent deal, right? Okay, what about if it's a company that's doing $1 million? Well, that ends up being $80,000. Okay, so what's the value? Give me 10, give me 20, just simply enough, right? But this increase was not even just 8%, it was 40%. So now in all those examples, it's 4 times, 5 times that, which is crazy, right? And so I thought this technique was normal. It wasn't a big deal. And then come to find out in this book that this guy Alex Ramosi has to go through a lot of trials and tribulations to find out that piece of information that I had years ago. And so I thought I was normal, but I'm not. And so the information that you have that's leading to this imposter syndrome, uh, let me break it down to you like this: an expert only knows one step ahead of the person that he's teaching. That's an expert, right? And so you have experts and you have professionals. It's a very different two distinctions, right? And so, like I said, I explained expert. Now, professional is like let's say truck drivers, right? They have to go get their licensing, get their CDL, so that they could work. And depending on what their CDL is, right? There's different classes. But let's say they get the top class, A class, so they could do everything. And so they get their licensing, and now they're a professional driver. So guess what's going to happen? Because they're a professional at this, well, when they go over the speed limit or what have you, what is the cop going to do? He's going to be more strict on these people because they're professional drivers. Now, everybody else, all the regular citizens, are not professionals by title. They're just drivers, licensed drivers, right? C class, D class, whatever drivers, right? And because of that, it's like, okay, well, a citizen could easily become a driver instructor and they just learn how to drive, right? That's it. And so that's all you have to do to teach somebody else is basically know how to drive, and you could teach somebody else how to drive. Okay. The next level professional is more so the semi truck drivers, and so they get their CDL, and now they're high class professionals in the field of driving. It doesn't matter if you're a citizen like me for 10, 15 years, 15 years or something like that of driving. And so it doesn't matter if like those are the years of driving, it wasn't professional, right? And so this is the difference, that it's like you may feel like an imposter, but you're probably in your expert phase right now, but you don't realize you're in your expert phase. And so you got to find people who need your expertise, right? And the other thing is like, am I worthy, right? This goes a little deeper. There's a lot of different pain steps in the sense of like, Am I worthy of success just in general? Like, do I even deserve the success? Right. And so it's like, I don't know. Do you feel like you're worthy of the success? Because I can't feel that for you. You have to feel for yourself, right? And so these questions are what basically pop up in your mind when you think about, these fears that you have, the fear of rejection. It's like, well, if this girl rejects me, no other girls go like want to go out with me. And it's like, no, that's not true. Like, I'm sure there's billions of women on this earth. So if there's billions of women on this earth, you have billions of tries. Now, if you have to try like billions of people, that kind of sucks. But now, what's the likelihood of you getting one woman if you ask 1 billion people, hey, would you go out with me? I'm sure you're going to get one, most definitely, maybe a few, right? So it's kind of a numbers game if you think about it on most things, right? It's like the more you practice, the more you get better. Um, and the less you practice, the more you're like, my talents will speak for themselves. Well, somebody who practices versus somebody with talents, big difference. Talent is unmastered potential or unharnessed potential. And then we have discipline, which is just like you just show up consistently. So it takes you 20 hours to really become proficient at something. And by proficient, I mean like, okay, like you can do it, right? Not necessarily like the 10,000 hours of mastering whatever, right? It's more so being able to take it one step at a time. So you see that, okay, one step is if you know how to work your iPhone better than the average person, you're an expert in iPhones. Simply enough, you're an expert in watching YouTube right now. There's some business owners that don't know how to use YouTube. And so just by you being able to be here, watch YouTube, click through whatever, that makes you an expert on this. And so it's like the abandonment happens when you realize that the imposter syndrome is something that ends up stopping you from actually achieving what you want to achieve. And you just want to abandon the whole thing. You're like, it's not worth it. And you drop it. And there's never a time to drop it. The only time to drop it is when you quit. That's when you really quit. And that's when you really fail, right? And so if you're able to still play in the game and keep going, then you're a winner, right? The objective is to keep playing the game of life. The objective is not to, win. There's no such thing as winning necessarily, but win it. And then boom, you win it. And then that's it. Or you quit and you're like, you stop. You just completely be like, all right, I'm going to sit on the couch, be a couch potato, watch this news happen and see all this negativity on the screen. The abandonment is just one of the things that our brain does to keep us safe because the overall objective is survival. Our brain is always in survival mode. So, especially in times when it's like money is low or what have you, it's like your brain is going to be instantly in survival mode and it's not going to think about, one step ahead. It's just going to think about the now. And so you got to be cautious about what you actually abandon because if it is something that you want to do, then you shouldn't abandon it, right? But you don't know that because you're just like dropping everything. There's professionals on fear, and those professionals don't have depth like this. I could literally talk about fear for probably about 2 hours fairly easily just by walking through this actual PDF. Mind you, this is just like one screen again. And so, if you enjoyed this, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. I know I asked that of you before, but I would really appreciate it if you just give it a good thumbs up, and leave a comment. Share it with your homies. There's value in here somewhere for someone, and I know that for a fact. And so, if you enjoyed this, make sure you stay tuned for the next video because I'm here 8 p.m. Central Standard Time mostly every day. If you look, our track record is basically 100 for 100. Not at 100 videos yet, but we're getting there. So stay tuned for the 100 journey. And once we drop our 100th consecutive video, I'm sure we'll do something spectacular because we got some things that we could potentially give to the people. But make sure you click the link in the description box below. That's where you could join my Skool community. I learned it from the internet. There we have a bunch of information. We drop every PDF that we're talking about right here. We drop that over there. So you have access to all the information and you don't have to be necessarily writing notes or scrambling for the information, pause and stop in this thing. You'll have access to that, but you'll also have access to the actual notes that I'm following, if you will. So stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll see you later. Peace out.